yet, but now if you can hear me, Henri Varga, I'm speaking to you. So hello again, just for those just arrived to. If you can't hear me, I've just said hello, sent a message. Hi from Denmark. Hello to Denmark. We'll wait for a couple of minutes and then we will start. I don't know if you can see if there are still people in the waiting room. Presenters. Okay, you can start when you want. Nobody in waiting rooms. Thank you, François. So private, just checking if I have something. Okay, so let's start. So hello to everybody. Good afternoon. Bonjour. So we will start now. So this session for Area 9, strengthening our knowledge in support of the European Green Deal call. We will have presentation for 3 topics. First one will be European research infrastructures with me right now, and later at 4:30, topic 2, developing end user products and services, and the last one towards the digital twin of the ocean. Before we start, I will just explain you quickly that you have access to the, in principle, to the chat and to the question and answer Q&A place. So you are free to use the chat, but if you have questions during the presentation, for example, of the first topic, you are invited to ask your question through the Q&A exclusively. Avoid to use the chat for the question because we might miss them. So during the presentation of topic 1, you are invited to ask your question on topic 9.1 at firstly, and then when we will start the presentation on topic 9.2, you will be invited at that stage to ask your question only at that stage, because if we start mixing all the questions, it will be very difficult for our moderators to work efficiently. So we will have as a speaker for the second topic Marianne van Merlo, who will join us a bit later, and Nicolas Segebars, who is already here. Roberta, who is my head of unit, might join, but I cannot see her yet. So that for the main speakers, and thanks to my colleagues from ORTD and EASME, Claudio, Anna, Natasia, and Frederic, who will help us with the question and answer. So thanks, really thanks to them. And let's start. Hello, yeah, I can see some people, non-people from Danubius. Hello to everybody again. So we are Area 9. We are one of the cross-cutting areas, meaning that we are a bit less focused on close to market solution, mature solution. It's a bit a specific area, strengthening our knowledge in support of the European Green Deal, and it's bringing a bit a longer term perspective and also acting as a bridge to Horizon Europe. So we have 3 topics under Area 9. The first one is about mobilizing world-class capacities and resources, and notably those provided by European research infrastructures to support breakthrough solutions in energy storage and also to advance climate environment monitoring and observation. Then we have a second topic to deliver end-user products and services that help decision makers identify which modes of production, consumption, and lifestyle are compatible with climate resilience and pathways achieving climate neutrality by 2050. And last but not least, topic 9.3, to prepare the ground for the development of a digital twin of the ocean to better connect and understand the unknown ocean and its crucial role in our survival and to provide evidence for informed decisions. I hope the connection is fine and you can still hear all and see the slide. Otherwise, I will switch off my camera. Just let me know in the chat if there is an issue. So let's start with the topic from the European Research Infrastructure Unit. So my name is Agnès Robin. I'm working together with Roberta Zubi, who might join us, Deputy Head of Unit. I'm Policy Officer in the Unit G3 in RTD, in the unit dealing with research and industrial infrastructures. And I will present this topic now. Just making sure no good sound. Okay, perfect. This is just an overview of the topic. And anyway, you have the call has been published. You have the detailed text of the topic published. So here in this slide, I will not repeat full sentences of the topic. I will just try to highlight. So here it's just an overview of the topic. The deadline is in end of January, 26 January. The total budget foreseen for this topic is 28 million, and we expect proposal, research and innovation action. So what is really important, that proposal should address one of the following subtopics. First, support Europe leadership in clean energy storage technologies. And here the focus is on effective and customized access to the best research infrastructures. Tentative budget is 7 million euro. And we have a budget, so 7 million euro per proposal, and we have a budget for 7 million. So normally we expect to fund one proposal per subtopic. Then we have the second subtopic on enhancing European research infrastructures for greenhouse gases observation in and around cities, notably anthropogenic CO2 emissions. So the focus is on cities or other large emission sites such as industrial sites, transport infrastructure. And here the budget is a bit larger, 13 million, up to 13 million euro. And again, in principle, we expect one proposal to be selected. Third subtopic, enhancing observations for air quality and citizens' health in urban areas, with some focus on particles and their precursors, nanoparticles. And here the budget is tentatively at 8 million euro. And again, we expect to fund one proposal. So see, here you have the overview. You can already notice that there is a bit of difference between the first topic, first subtopic, which has a focus on access, providing access, and the second and the third ones that are more on developing, improving the infrastructure, the services. No mandatory access to be offered under these two last subtopics. That's really important that you notice that right away. I'm just moving. So you will see that we have some common part in the specific challenge, common expected impact to all subtopics. So of course, what we expect from any of the subtopics is to mobilize and advance world-class scientific capacities and resources, such as those offered by European research infrastructure to address European Green Deal objectives. So it's a significant shift from our usual Horizon 2020 topic, because here we have a specific focus. We are not bottom up or not just addressing a class of infrastructure. We really want to have impact for the European Green Deal priorities. We have, however, some common impact to all subtopics. First of all, so here are just highlight, but you are ready to carefully check the full topic in the work program, in the published one. I just wanted to highlight that you have some perspective from research infrastructures perspective, in particular synergies among research infrastructures, improving, optimizing, harmonizing research services to address Green Deal priorities. You also have the perspective for all subtopics from the users, whether it's the scientific community or the industrial community. Users benefit from accessing and benefiting from integrated services, best research infrastructures, accessing advanced research services to address their specific needs. And here it's important that you, in a proposal, you are convincing in the fact that you are able to address the needs to address European Green Deal objectives. You can have also the perspective from other perspectives, some as such as developing new skills, generation of researchers that are ready to optimally exploit the most advanced and essential instruments, resources for research and innovation, still addressing Green Deal challenges. So you have several perspectives under the expected impact. These were the generic ones that I just wanted to highlight. Now coming closer to each specific subtopics, I will just put some highlight on the scope and some specific expected impact. Clean energy storage technologies. So here the focus, as already said, is about access, coordinated and integrated provision of transnational and virtual access, facilitate and integrate the access procedures, also improve and customize the services offered by the infrastructures, some focus on bringing together complementary and interdisciplinary facilities, covering various TRLs, that's really important, addressing the whole chain for clean energy storage, improving, providing access to really advanced instrumentation and scientific tools, efficient ad hoc or generic support to users, and so on. So you have, I just wanted to put some highlights. If you are familiar with research infrastructure calls, it's a bit similar to our usual infra-year call, where you have focus on access. So it's really important that you have that in mind. You offer access, and of course you develop, improve your services, but the access is essential. Some specific expected impact for these subtopics, of course, enable breakthrough research and innovation in energy storage. Again, important across the whole value chain and with an approach, a life cycle approach, and in view of possible industrial applications. That's really something specific to this subtopic, that you cover the whole value chain, the whole life cycle approach. Also, expected impact is having a competitive research and industrial energy storage ecosystem. So this can cover advanced materials, this can cover very advanced modeling, advanced in chemistry, in systems, advanced manufacturing, about reuse, recycling, and so on. So these are just some highlights. I think I'm already short of time, so I will move to the next slide. Second subtopic, here we are interested in greenhouse gases observation with a focus to cities and hotspot emission area. The scope, if you are familiar with research infrastructure call, it's a bit of mix of different type of topic we had under InfraDev Horizon 2020 call. So you have to combine scientific and technical work. So it can be engineering plans, test bed for instrument arrays, also developing appropriate data management, ensuring fairness of the data. You also have to cover some conceptual work. You need to have the new services integrated into the existing landscape of European research infrastructures. You need to think to what will be the estimated budget, what can be your long-term plans for funding. Really important, it's not only about this some technical work. We expect some pilot implementation in at least one representative site. And it's up to you to decide and to arrange how you will select what will be your selection procedure, which are the best site where you can get the most effective information. You need to demonstrate some engagement of authorities, could be local authorities, national authorities, regional authorities. We expect you to make some focus on the complementary nature of the different measurement systems, quality control, traceability, and that I already said, site selection. Very important, at the end of the project, it's not just over. So in your proposal, you should plan how you will upscale all that. So you must include a roadmap for upscaling and have activities related to developing this roadmap in your proposal. Expected impact, a bit specific, that we expect that we will enable evidence-based sustainability strategies. We will be able to provide interoperable data, tools, models, strengthen and sustain Copernicus in situ component, and so on. These are just some highlights, and you will have to refer to the official published call for more information. Now I'm moving to the last third topic, enhancing observations for air quality and citizens' health in urban areas. Here, like for the former subtopics, we are focusing on scientific and technical work, and we have a specific focus on exposure to nanoparticles, again, data management, instrumentation, and so on. And again, we expect a pilot implementation here in at least 2 representative sites. Engagement of authorities, efforts towards complementary measurement system, so building on what is existing as well. Some focus on mobile instrumentation, building on the ongoing activities with citizen observatories. You also will have to address how you will select your sites, and also roadmap for upscaling. Expected impact, so ability to have assess the impact at city scale of policy implementations initiated at city or national or European levels with respect to air quality, to citizen health. So the engagement of the health community is really essential. We expect that these services, this infrastructure will boost multidisciplinary research and innovation action to understand the potential health damage of nanoparticles, and so on. I think we are here. I'm just 3 minutes over my tentative allocated time. I would like to thank you. I think now it's time for question. We have a bit of time for question and to answer your question. I would just checking. So before moving to the question, we might not be able to answer all of them, or you might have many further questions coming. Remember, your main contacts will be the national contact point for any question you may have related to this topic, like any other Horizon 2020 call. Thank you for your attention. And now I'm moving to question and answers. Alors, can you say a bit more about one proposal to be funded for each area? Why is that? So the idea is that we have, so it's not a strict rule, of course. We expect for each, so we will have more than one proposal to be funded for each area. We will have, for the topic 9.1, we expect to have at least one proposal funded under each subtopic. In principle, unless there is a real issue with the quality of proposal under one of the subtopics, we expect to fund only one project per subtopic. So for the whole topic 9.1, normally we should have 3 projects selected, 1 project per subtopic. If we receive proposals that are, let's say, half of the tentative budget indicated in the call, of course we can fund more. But the idea is really to work on the integration of services. So normally we don't expect to fund 10 smaller scale projects for each subtopic. That's not the idea. A bit like we had in the H2020 call for infra in a given area, we would expect to have 1 project to be funded. So that's the principle, that's the idea. To have the maximum of integration, interoperability, synergies between different heterogeneous facilities. That's the spirit. Another question. Do you believe that, oops, sorry, it's jumping. Do you believe that having an industrial company leading a project in subtopic A, clean energy storage, could be positive? Or would it be better to have a research institution as project coordinator? No definitive answer to that. Equally valid a company leading a project if they have the management resource, of course, and if the experts are convinced that a company can coordinate a project. So it's better to have it's valid for any public entities, private sector. It's better to have some experience in coordinating projects. It's an added value. Other than that, it's positive, of course, if you are convincing with your experience as coordinator. That would be my suggestion. You mentioned new skills and new generation of researcher. Can this be applied to upskilling, reskilling of engineers in the automotive industry for the massive digitization that is coming? When we are referring to new skills, new generation of researcher, we are really thinking to making people able to exploit and use the really high-level services offered by the infrastructure. So it's not generic. It's not generic training. It's really you give the opportunity to researchers, to users, to learn new techniques to make the best use possible of these research infrastructures. So I would not say that it will change completely the expertise of researchers, engineers. I'm not sure if I answered your question properly. Then, if I understand well, it is not the idea to have exposure and health research in the project itself, but rather to make exposure data available to be able to address the issue of exposure and health. I'm not so sure about that. I would say that I'm not specialist at all in this field of health research, but I would say as an evaluator of a project, I would be maybe feel more comfortable if stakeholders in the health research are part of the consortium. It depends how your project will be structured, how you will organize your activities, how you will organize the link with the different stakeholders. But I would say that it's certainly not the idea that you should not have them in the consortium. If they have a specific role to implement some task, they should be in the consortium. Any participant who has a specific role, a task that serves the project, should be in the consortium. So if you need the expertise of health research community to address the subtopic on air quality, and then you should have them on board. If this is not needed because you have arranged your activities in a way that they can stay outside, that's perfect as well. You just have to be coherent and convincing. I don't know. So then this is research and innovation. But when a pilot needs to build is it fair to say that any technology used should start at TRL 4? That there is no room for new sensor development. I think there is room to new sensor development. Then it's up to you to decide the weight you put on any specific component of your project depending on the need. So is it fair to say that any use should start at TRL 4? No, you in your scientific and technological work, you might have a lower TRL. But at least, because there should be some pilot demonstration, you must also have activity going to higher TRL, for sure. Is engagement society relevant in this context? And yes, how should it be reflected in the proposal? Is engagement of society relevant in this context? Yes. How should it be reflected in the proposal? Up to you to see how best to do it. In some case, I mentioned citizen observatories, but I would say that's not the only way. Clearly, for energy storage, it's also very much relevant. So you might have a different approach, but clearly, yes, that's really relevant, really important. Up to you to see the best way. That I will not comment on that at this stage. Coming to the end, maybe a last question. Would you please explain the initial division between the energy storage and the advanced climate in the call text? So you have three subtopics. One clearly on clean energy storage, that's the first one. And the two other ones are more on the observing side. So there was this advanced climate observing, monitoring, which are more for the second and third one. I hope that was the clarification needed. And I think we are coming close to the end. Published. I'm just on time. So if there is no other further question, I think I will leave the floor to my colleague Marianne, who is joining now. Thanks a lot for your participation, your question, interesting question. And here again, do not hesitate to contact the national contact points for specific questions. And thanks again. I hope it was useful for you, and I can welcome Marianne, who is here.
Thank you, Agnes. You can hear me, right? You can hear me.
I can see you and I can hear you perfectly.
Great, and we hope the rest do that as well.
I'm mute.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Agnes. We will wait another couple of minutes just to be sure that everybody who wants to actually do session 9.2 is there. In any case, may I ask to have the slides for session 9.2 up already? Just that people know they're in the right session. Thank you, that is so great. Okay, in the meantime, please don't be shy in still sending Q&As in. I'm sure that Agnes already said this, but we will also try to see if we can answer them afterwards with a frequently asked question part on the funding portal. Also in the chat, you can write things in the chat, but the Q&A is the part which we will be actually looking at. So I give it one more minute. Please hold in there with me for a little bit more, and then I will actually start. It's a bit funny. It's probably the same for you because I'm used to doing these info sessions with a big group of people in front of me, and now I'm talking to the picture of myself on a computer screen. So a bit different than what we used to, but I guess that's innovation for us as well. So let's just do it. So there we go. We're at 4:30. Thank you all for being here. I'm sure that Agnes welcomed you already if you were here. If you joined specifically for this session, I would like to welcome you again. This is the Green Deal Call Info Day session on Area 9, on the area of strengthening our knowledge in support of the European Green Deal. And this specific session is on the call on developing end users, products and services for all stakeholders and citizens, supporting climate adaptation and mitigation. It might not be a short and snappy title, but it's a very explanatory title, which means that all of the elements which are important in this particular topic are actually already mentioned in the title. As a disclaimer, I have to say that whatever is on the slides and whatever I say today is always if there's any contradictory to be found, the text which is on the funding portal, the participants and funding portal, is always a text to follow. So please, if in any confusion, look at the text in the work program, and that would be the correct way. I will then go to the first slide. Just as one last thing, we have some people here who are also working on this. And once we go to the question and answering part, I might invite other people to take the floor as well. But yeah, let's see how we go. And I see that it's fine now for Dave. Thank you. Okay, great to know. Then yes, so for this particular topic, we are looking at developing end user products. We have a specific challenge and actions to need. You can all read it on the slide. I will repeat some of it, but the rest is there as well. The thing is that to support the use of climate information in risk management, and we want to support the use of climate information in risk management planning for cross sections and regions. However, for decision makers to know which modes of production, consumption and lifestyle are compatible with this, climate resilience, and what the pathways are to achieving climate neutrality in 2050, we need more than what we have now. For the relevant and practical climate adaptation and mitigation solutions, we need you, the end users, to step in, and we need the information to actually reach the end users. So we need to go beyond what we've done until now. This type of project is a research and innovation action, and the budget in total is 25 million. The contribution for the projects we feel should be addressing this appropriately would be around 3 to 5 million. However, this is not a mandatory range, so if there's a good reason to have it lower or higher, it will not hold you back from putting in a proposal. But this is just to let you know what is the kind of thinking we have on this. Then I will go to the next slide. So what is the scope? So the action should cover some of the following. Be aware of the word some. It means that not all of the points hereunder should be covered, but at least more than one should be covered. In case you're not covering some points, you might wish at some point to put that in the proposal. Why not? But this is not mandatory since it says some of the following. So we would like for this scope that it builds on existing services and frameworks such as Copernicus, European Earth Observation Programme, such as GEOS, the Global Earth Observation System of Systems, which is a system which consists under the Group on Earth Observations. The Group on Earth Observations is an international group where we have over 100 members, including the Commission as a specific member. And then we also have a lot of participating organizations. I think it's around 134 by now. So it's a big global initiative. And the Global Earth Observation System of Systems is hanging under there. Now we have AMOGNET and ESA, the European Space Agency, actions as well. We're looking also to build robust and accessible knowledge on how the climate is changing, but this should be at a scale which is relevant to the user's needs. And it should also look at the impact at sectoral and regional levels in Europe. We are looking for identification of the barriers for the predictive potential of climate adaptation models. And also looking for this knowledge to bridge the gap between expert tools, which are already now used by scientists, but also the needs of decision makers to make the right decision for the future. In such, we're looking at the demonstrating of climate services and measuring the results through so-called key performance indicators, and hopefully multiplying the outreach to scaling up and replication to the business and public sector. We hope also to see that in the in the less represented areas of Europe and beyond. Go to the next slide. So if you then look at specific focus points, we're specifically looking at the converting of the mitigation pathways compatible with the EU climate goals and adaptation strategies for potential impacts to 2050 and beyond. And we want to have clear information on how climate change impacts will evolve and what changes are needed as well. And we particularly are hoping to have a consideration of the co-benefits and the trade-offs, as well as the insights into drivers and barriers for these changes, and how then these barriers can be overcome. I know I'm reading from slides a bit. It's just because this is the actual text and we have to keep close to it. But if it's in any way unclear, I'm happy to look into the Q&As after this presentation. So then, for the last part of the specific focus points, we also hope that it will contribute to delivering the next generation of climate services in collaboration with the commercial sector. Through addressing downstream part of the value chain, to providing accessible information to also non-specialists, and to providing new climatic conditions through different tools and platforms, including GEOS and Copernicus and applications for this. Okay, then going to one of my last slides. So what about expected impacts? We looking for an outcome to enable citizens, stakeholders, and decision makers to factor climate change and climate action into decisions more than they are able to do now, but also to contribute to the exploitation of Copernicus and GEOS, so again the group on Earth observations, for improved robustness of the data and knowledge and information, but also of the predictive quality of these, not only on climate adaptation, but also on mitigation. It's really both of them. To allow users to become active players, we feel that it's a joint effort to do this, and therefore we need these end users on board. Again, the main elements are in the title. These end users are very important. So to improve the European capacity on these available solutions and increase in such the resilience of society and different organizations, and of course individuals. And the last thing is to support the development of European services regarding the end user climate service. Then that was it on my side, and I will go back to this one. I will look at the Q&A to see if there's anything already arising. I have one for now. Who are the end users, both regional authorities and citizens, and would e-government tools qualify as such projects? I would say end users could be a broad range of users, as long as you can also identify which these end users are. That would definitely also be governance and citizens, since we also see that citizens are a fundamental part of finding the solution. But if we look into the decision maker part of it, then of course it's also the governments. And would e-government tools qualify at such projects? I think in this case, it really depends on how you explain it. I'm assuming that e-government tools could qualify, but I don't want to give any specifications on this. This is a call for proposal, so I'm really looking for your creativity on this as well. Okay, let's see if we have more questions coming in. I can't see any right now. There we go. Are cultural factors expected to be considered? That's an interesting question. As for now, I of course now should look at all the specific details within the scope. and within the expected impacts. But if my memory doesn't serve me wrong, we don't have this as a particular factor in there. But again, if you have a good case on why they should be considered and why this is a fundamental part in actually developing these end users products and these services, then I would assume that it could be part of the possibilities. But please be sure that in introducing them, they will actually still fit within the scope, fit within the challenge, and fit within the expected impacts. Okay. How many users are considered a good number for the proposal? Interesting question, Paula. This might be one where we have to go back onto when looking into frequently asked questions on the funding portal, because for now I can't give a clear answer on that. And I don't want to every time say it's up to your creativity, but also for this question, it is partly up to your creativity, because if you can say that this amount of users you're targeting is the right amount of users because of this, and this, then of course it's something to, that's the most important thing of it. But this one is a good one to also take into account in the frequently asked questions, which we will publish under the funding and participants portal. By the way, don't expect that to be there straight away today. It takes a little bit of time to get them together, but they will come. Okay, looking at the next one. Sorry, I think I now by accident put one away. Will the recording of this be made available afterwards? Yes, and I think that this has been also, so I will republish it. I think this has been also been answered by Frederick. Yes, the recording will be made available through the RNI websites. So I can archive that one and this one as well. It's just to clean up a bit and I can find all your questions. So do we need to address both adaptation and mitigation issues? Yes, it is really concerning both. Again, if I go back to the title, let me go here. In supporting climate adaptation and mitigation. So it is looking at both. We ask in a bit of different way to look at one or the other. So please for that also check the expected impacts, check the scope. But if one of the two is completely missing, then I would feel that it doesn't answer to what we expect as an impact and as a scope. How far should the project address specific cases framework in Europe and outside? Yeah, that's an interesting question, because we do say also looking at Europe and beyond, but also for here is the case. And I'm trying to see if we can get back to the scope for that one. Okay, I can't find it for the time being, but we can look that back. So I think that it could address specific cases and framework in Europe and outside. However, also here, please make sure it fits within the scope. As far as I know that what is now in the text, it doesn't ask necessarily for this. Doesn't mean that it couldn't be part of it. And of course, the group on Earth observation and the global Earth observation system of systems, it goes beyond Europe for sure. Okay. Does the service have to cover all areas: production, consumption, planning, and lifestyle? I will go back to this slide. I will actually not go back to this slide. I will go back to this slide. Actually should cover some of the following. So please check this, and there it will say if it needs to be for all. Of course, since we have this in a specific challenge where we ask for decision makers to know, where we find that the challenge is for decision makers to know which modes of production, consumption, and lifestyle are compatible. of course, this is interesting, but please, again, also for this one, check the scope in as far as what we are asking for exactly. Okay. Expected actions in 9.2 must be RIAs. How is it supposed to be combined with the global Green Deal purposes of having soon ready products out of the coal? Yes, this is an interesting question as well. And if you would look through the scope and expected impacts, you will see that some of them are actually targeting more the higher TRLs. In any case, we felt for part of this, especially, and I will go to the scope again and look at the second bullet, so the build robust and accessible knowledge. We feel that this still is very much fundamental and also contributing to the global Green Deal purpose. And therefore, it's still, let's say, acceptable that in this case, we're looking more at the RIA. However, we're also looking at the replication to business and public sector and for collaboration with the public sector, with the commercial sector. And I'm trying to find that specific point again here. There we go. So here, the collaboration with the commercial sector. So there are some elements in here which are much more connected to the soon ready products in this case. But it's yeah, it is a RIA, so there is an element of lower TRLs in there as well. Building on existing services and frameworks such as Copernicus, GEOS, AIMONET, and ESA-Action. Are you referring here only to the observational data or other sorts of data provided by Copernicus, such as climate model data from CMP available on the climate data source, also referred to here? It is more than only the data. It is also information. It's partly services. Not all of these different platforms offer the same amount of information and products and services as the others. But where we say built on existing services and frameworks, it definitely goes beyond the data, where that's, of course, again, fitting within the total concept of your proposal. But in looking at it, we don't only look at, for instance, Copernicus for the data, but it goes beyond that. Let me see. What is the next one? In the first bullet, customizing Adaptation data platforms are referred to. In the first bullet, let me see the first bullet of which particular part. Adaptation. I'm trying to find whether it's the first bullet of the scope of the challenge or of the expected impacts. Let me go to the expected impacts. Okay, sorry for this. I can't find it back for now on which particular slide you're talking about. But in any case, can you elaborate and provide some examples? This is quite difficult to actually give a specific example for this because it also depends on which of the data platforms you are looking at. But one of the data platforms is for instance, connected to Copernicus or to the Global Earth Observation System of Systems. And it's looking in this case more into how it can feed to the end users and whether what is there now is actually in the right form or not, or whether there should be customizing for that as well. I hope this answers your questions, Athanasia, but otherwise we'll be sure to also take this to account in the frequently asked questions, because it's quite an interesting question. Thank you for that. Yeah, so what should be the starting TRL level? Anna, that's an interesting question as well. Because it is a RIA. So the starting TRL levels can be rather low. I don't want to name an exact one, but it is still the research part. So you could say that it's around or just below the value of that part. However, we don't ask for a specific TRL level, but we do ask that it's fitting within the scope of a research and innovation action. Can a UK organization company lead to consortium for this call regarding Brexit? I don't know, and I'm seeing if there's maybe somebody else who is in the percentage box to know the reaction to this. I would say it depends on the general regulations, which will be set at one point. And I see my colleague Nicola is already looking into this question as well. So I will park this for now. I will leave it here, and then I will leave Nicola to answer it, which you can all see then. Okay. I got a question back on what I said before on the, sorry to ask for clarifications, never a problem. You mean that each individual project should address to both adaptation and mitigation issues at the same level? This is not exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that both adaptation and mitigation issues should be part of the project, since we're looking at both supporting climate adaptation and mitigation. However, it doesn't say necessarily in the text that it's something that should be at the same level. That really depends on the different expected impacts and scope. So I would expect that a project which is not addressing them at the same level, but is both addressing them, would still fit within the scope. Okay, Nicola, thank you for clarifying that. I'm so with my head in Horizon Europe that indeed Green Deal call is still a Horizon 2020 call, of course, for which I trust business as usual with the UK beneficiaries should apply. Thank you for clarifying that, Nicola, very helpful. Okay. I have this one, and then this one. I will take 2 more questions. I have one of Michael Angel and I have one of Murray. I will answer those 2 still, and then I'm sorry, we're all doing different things in the Green Deal call, so I have to go into a session on Area 10 then to do another citizens-related project and explanation of that one. But Miguel Engel, I will look at yours. Service delivery should be tackled for the most relevant sectors. Could you indicate which one? Yeah, well, this is a question we were sort of expecting, but the answer is not going to be straightforward, because the most relevant sectors in this case also depend on what you're targeting and also depend on the relevant sectors for the Green Deal. So here again, the most important thing is that you explain in your proposal why you consider this to be the most relevant sectors. You said the expected budget is 3 to 5 million. What's the expected duration of actions? I feel that also for this one, the expected duration of actions would be the same as they are in throughout Horizon 2020. From the top of my head, I would say 2 to 5 years. Is there somebody among the presenters who can confirm this? No, can somebody of my co-presenters confirm that the expected duration is indeed... Nicola, thank you again. We'll wait for Nicola's answer and then we close off this session. And again, there's the possibility to ask more questions via the funding portal. No expectation on duration, should be enough to conclude the project and not be excessively long, indeed, and should follow the general Horizon 2020 rules. Okay, with that, I would really like to thank you for your attention in this different than normal environment. I hope this gave you enough information. Again, should there be conflicting answers to whatever is in the goal text, please refer to the goal text. That is the most important thing, which will be found on the funding and participants portal. And we will make sure there's a frequently asked questions to be added to that. Thank you again. And with this, I give the floor to Nicola for the next session, which will start at 5.
Thank you, Marianne. This is Nicola, and I will give everybody 5 minutes comfort break before we start for the very last topic for today, which is the digital twin of the ocean. So see you, or you will see me in 5 minutes from now. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are hearing me well. My name is Nicolas Segebert. I'm from DG Research and Innovation, and I will be presenting the Green Deal topic on transparent and accessible seas and oceans towards a digital twin of the ocean. A little housekeeping reminder, you have the possibility to ask written questions on the topic, as you have been doing very well. And I have with me colleagues from DG Mare, DEFIS, and Connect, with whom we co-created this topic, and we will do our best to answer questions. So please ask your question through the Q&A functionality in the platform, and don't worry if they don't show up immediately as they are being moderated. So if I can get a signal that I'm heard, that would be appreciated. In the chat. Okay, thank you, Ian. So before we dive into the topic, I would like to remind 4 important contextual elements that underpin the ocean twin. Firstly, ocean observations are essential to understand, predict, and manage our ocean, and that in all its dimensions: physical, environmental, and socio-economical. Ocean observation should be sustained and fit for purpose and accounting for their multiple uses and multiple users. Secondly, Europe has established over the years an unrivaled range of marine data, modeling, and forecasting infrastructures. And these include, for instance, EMODNet, Copernicus, and its marine service in particular, the national and the EU marine research infrastructure, and the Blue Cloud. Thirdly, the principle of fair data, fair as you shouldn't all know by now, for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable, is a guiding principle of Horizon 2020 and will also be a guiding principle of Horizon Europe. And this principle is, of course, particularly relevant to ocean observation, both because of their very high cost, but also because of the need to look at the oceans from a systemic point of view across disciplines and across sectors. Last but not least, you will have heard of the European Commission initiative Destination Earth, or Destiny, which is proposed as a contribution to both the European Green Deal and the European Digital Agenda. The Destination Earth aims at the development of a very high precision digital model of the Earth, combining observations, artificial intelligence, cloud, and high performance computing capacities. Now, despite of significant progresses over the last years, we do observe that the landscape is still somehow fragmented and that data and knowledge do not flow easily through disciplines and to potential users. And this is precisely what the digital twin of the ocean is all about. It aims at integrating European ocean assets with digital technologies into a consistent, high resolution, and multidimensional description of the ocean. It should transform data into knowledge for the benefit of all, and notably through the use of the new digital technologies and through different layers of services. The ocean twin should be a simulator to test different scenarios of the evolution of the ocean, both because of climate change and because of anthropogenic pressure. Importantly, and I would say even essentially, this simulator should also allow for the testing of possible solutions in a way that will empower citizens, governments, and industries to collectively share the responsibility of marine and coastal habitats, to support a sustainable blue economy, and to prepare to mitigate and adapt to climate change. So that was for the concept of the ocean twin, which, if you were attending some of the session yesterday, is strongly advocated by the mission boards on healthy oceans, seas, coastal and inland waters. Now, the scope of the topic itself is fairly open, with the obvious condition that proposals should demonstrate the usefulness of an ocean twin with regard to the Green Deal priorities, and that this demonstration should be done on very concrete cases in local, regional or global sea basins, from estuaries to the open ocean and from the surface to the seabed. Proposals should integrate the socioeconomic dimension to the multivariable description and simulation environment of the ocean. And this should be done in both directions. What are the impact of changes from and on given socioeconomic activities? Examples of what proposals could address are the impact of climate scenarios on aquaculture and fisheries, and reversively how these would affect or will affect local and global ecosystems. Proposals could also address the impact of sea level rise and extreme waves on coastal risks, or pollution monitoring together with scenarios for mitigation and remediation strategies. Proposals could also develop tools in support of maritime spatial planning, for instance. In all cases, and that is of course very important, is that the approach should be as holistic as possible. The proposals should build on, integrate and complement existing infrastructure assets, available data sets and models, real-time data or nearly real-time data from mobile and fixed platform. And they should also incorporate industrial and citizen data together with historic data sources. This integration into a single digital framework that should be compatible with the development of Destination Earth, because what we envisage here is that the digital twin of the ocean would be the ocean component of Destination Earth. So this integration should allow, together with the exploitation of big data technologies, for the development of models, of model outputs and what-if scenarios, with appropriate user interfaces for multiple user groups in what I would call a multi-layer service approach. Importantly, proposals should demonstrate a real breakthrough in accuracy and realism compared to the state of the art, and an optimal synergy between the observations and the models. The impact that we expect from this topic is that it will enable the completion of the existing European ocean forecasting and climate services by a simulation capacity, allowing for future plugin of numerous new applications and services based on innovative solutions. We expect that it will support the move to an operational European ocean observing system and to shared data management strategies. Considering the timing, we of course expect it to contribute significantly to the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Developments. And we hope, or we expect the proposal, the project, to impact on the science-driven approach to policy development and implementation, and that it will increase or help increasing citizen engagement and empower citizens in innovative co-designed projects and services. Last but not least, we also expect that it supports industry in developing new business models and opportunities in ocean data and related services. The last slide is the topic condition. So this is an innovation action, meaning that the technology maturity must have reached a level allowing for the framework and infrastructure of the ocean twin to become operational in the short to mid-term. The budget for this topic is 12 million euro, and that is also the suggested project size, which means that unless my own forecasting capacity is extremely poor, there will be place for only one project to be selected. Of course, if we have two excellent projects asking half of the 12 million, we might have two projects, but I don't think this will happen. International cooperation is strongly encouraged to ensure global coverage and global interoperability. And eventually, as for all the projects in the Green Deal call, the projects will be requested to contribute to networking experience sharing activities. Before I conclude, I would like to note that ESA is organizing its annual Earth Observation Fee Week next week, and that the theme is the Digital Twin Earth, and we will have a session dedicated to the Ocean Twin on October 2. I think the registration is closed, but everything is recorded, and so you will have the possibility to follow the debate if you are interested in. So that's it. I will turn on to the questions and answer, and before that I will check whether my fellow from DG Mare, Connect and DEFIS are with me and their mic is working. So let's see, Ian and Zoe, are you there? Fabienne? Can you turn? Yeah.
Christian has problem to connect.
Okay, and that is Fabienne.
Yeah.
Hi, Fabienne. Okay, so let's have a look. So, how many consortia will be chosen awarded under this call? Well, as I said, there's a budget of 12 million euro, and the budget, the project size, which is recommended, is about 12 million. So that means that there will be one project selected under this call. Is there room for some geology in the digital twin? Integration of sediment, flows, shelf stability, seabed composition? I would say yes, of course. But don't forget that you also need to demonstrate the usefulness with regard to the Green Deal objective, and that if it doesn't fit completely here, the framework should accommodate for geology later on.
If I may
Yes,
add something
please.
also, for whatever the topic that could be envisaged, since the digital twin of ocean should run and integrate destination Earth at the end, it should emphasize the use of cloud and HPC technologies.
Thank you, Fabienne. Next question, do you plan to fund several complementary approaches? If yes, do you plan to have an umbrella for all the selected projects? So at the moment, we cannot say much about this, but yes, we do plan to have more projects and more initiatives, in particular, probably under the mission, although this all remains to be decided. But should this be the case, then yes, we will have to probably to go for umbrella projects. Is there a special consideration for the littoral areas? Fabienne, you want to answer that? Or Ian or Zoe?
For what?
For littoral areas, coastal areas.
Yes, it can be an interesting topic.
Yes, yes, of course.
Yes, why not? Yeah.
Question from Pierre Bahurel. What is the expectation duration of the action and who are the targeted users? DTO, citizen, policymaker, experts. Well, I think the topic is quite clear about the fact that we expect all the possible users to be addressed by the project with developments that are fitted with their own expertise and capacities. And the choice of these stakeholders will depend on the demonstrators or the use cases that you choose under the project. Fabienne or Ian, if you want to add something, don't hesitate. Huh?
We target the Green Deal, so all actors involved in the implementation of the Green Deal.
Andrea, should the project develop over the global ocean or may focus on Atlantic, Arctic, and the European regional seas? I think it would make sense to focus on European regional seas for some of the possible demonstrators or use cases. For others, you probably would go for more global global twins. We also have the cooperation framework under the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance. So this is, of course, one of the framework under which the project should work. I lost my questions. Okay. Can you elaborate further on the international cooperation aspects? How do you see this applying? Well, this is the typical international cooperation modes that we have under Horizon Europe, in the sense that countries that are eligible for grants may be part of the consortium, as for all the other countries, except that they would not be receiving money directly from the European Commission, and they should come with their own funding. I'm thinking of the USA or Canada or all the wealthy countries. Is it expected that the project is coordinated by a research institution? We have no particular expectation on that. Aurélien, can you remind the main key marine research priorities highlighted in the Green Deal call? Well, as far as marine research priorities are concerned, of course, you have these ocean twin. You also probably have some of the call on zero pollution and on biodiversity. Although I will ask you to refer directly to the work program for more information, as I'm not myself completely aware of all the topics. And then the last question that I can see is, are private companies and not necessarily only SME be accepted as subcontractor? Subcontracting is not, by the definition of the Horizon 2020 grant agreement, something that we particularly rely on. It is possible, but it is not something that we rely on. If you talk about beneficiaries within a consortium, yes, private companies can be SMEs, and not only SMEs, they can be anybody. Pierre, does the integration in the Destination Earth framework implies technical requirement at this prototype level? Well, it certainly implies that the project will need to be very attentive at the development of the Destination Earth initiative and ensure that the technical requirements are convergible, I would say. Fabienne, you agree with that?
Yes, it may be difficult to know more because Destination Earth is still in the limbo and not already developed. So yes, in the course of the project, since it will be parallel, it will be important to liaise with the people in charge of Destination Earth, at least for all what is about interfaces with computing capacities, interoperability.
Okay, thank you, Fabienne.
And using their resources as much as possible if possible.
Question for Marta Fernandez. Are overseas countries and territories eligible? Well, I would refer to the rules, but a priori, if they are in the list, well, if they are part of an EU member state, of course they are eligible for funding. Some of the overseas countries and territories probably are, but please refer to the list of eligible countries. Okay, so since I have apparently no more questions, maybe I can ask my colleague Ian or Zoe or Fabienne, who have contributed to the drafting of this topic, whether they want to add something that I might have forgotten that they consider essential.
Jan, do you have something, Zoe? No?
No?
On my side, I may add 2 points. The first one is linking also with DG Mare on that, is the fact that it's important to put that in perspective of Destination Earth and eventually Copernicus if it's used. And so in this area, what is really important is to enlarge the basis with ocean observation as much as we can, because we need data. And the other point is to about the content of the project is really, it's more useful to concentrate in developing something that is robust and that can survive in time, focused, with a few test case, rather than trying to cover all test case and possible, but not go into depths of what can be really innovative in terms of handling data, analyzing data with AI or with modeling and so on. So we really want to set up a core infrastructure or core models or AI tools or things like that around data, rather than trying to have plenty of use cases but fragmented. Because we want that to survive in time and to transition as much as possible to destinations in the future.
Perfect. Thank you, Fabienne, very much. So I think that's it. Yes, since I see no more questions, then I will close here the presentation of the Area 9. I'm not sure if Agnès is still around. If she's not, I will close myself. Okay, so I would like to thank you thank you all for your attention. As Agnès said in the beginning of the session, you have the possibility to further ask questions through the NCPs and through the portal, I believe. So we will do our best to answer to any question that will reach us. So thank you very much for your attention, and good luck if you're setting up a proposal. That's it for me. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.